Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever Framer Discovery Learning Streams. We are super excited to have you on this very quick Framer learning journey, kind of like a cash course because we've been thinking of, helping making videos. But then we thought, why not just do it like a live stream, like a conversation between two instructors, pulling in people when required, things like that. I'm super excited to have Arjun along with me. Arjun teaches along with me the Framer workshop, and we also thought, okay, let's start getting some content and aspects there. So, thank you so much for showing up and stick around, ask questions. We are absolutely open to you. I'll also pass this on to Arjun to get started.
Hello, everyone. Not sure how many of you are joining in tonight. First of all, thank you so much for sparing your time and joining in for this live stream. As Madhuri mentioned, we just started this live stream to see how much we can pull in all the Framer-related enthusiasm together to see if we can share the thoughts, some of the insights from actually working with Framer on real projects, as well as for people who are beginning onto Framer, if they want to really just understand some of the important questions and see how good Framer is at developing websites today in today's time, then this is a good way we thought. So yeah, with that, we can get started. Please type in your questions, and you can also type in where you're joining in from. That will also help us understand where all you're coming in and what's your enthusiasm like. All right. With that, let's get started. Okay. I hope you're all able to see what's being shared. Welcome again to Framework Discovery Streams. We are thinking of doing this with a couple of gaps interspersed for almost about 7 days, where we'll be covering, me and Madhuri will be covering most of the important questions that come around Framer, from understanding how Framer is different, what is the context of Framer, to the most important features of Framer and how you can leverage them to really build highly interactive, robust websites that are also very performant. So with that, I just wanted to start with a little bit of context because this is the first most important question that I wanted to cover, which comes in, which is about the context of Framework. Where does really Framework come in? Especially if you're not familiar with the no code, although it's a misnomer, but the world of no code, where it's basically about using the software to build software. So you're using visual builders to really build something instead of writing code to build something. So that's the idea. And but if you're very new to it, this will really help you get understand where Framer sits in the whole larger world of no code and world of visual builders, and why we are talking Framer extensively, especially in the past few years. It has gotten a lot of traction. So yeah, so let me specifically talk about the value exchange part of it, where we are very much used to understanding how value exchange happens between you and your company, if you're working for it, and your company and its customers as well. Particularly, we are talking about your company and its customers, because if you're building marketing assets, then it's really about taking your company further and communicating that to the customers. So in the whole value exchange cycle, especially when we are talking about value aspect, we all know that when we build something, when we imagine something, when we build that imagineering part of it, there are a lot of steps that are involved, from very raw ambiguous idea to a concrete product that actually sits in the hands of the customer. So all these processes have been, over a period of time, especially over the last decade and a half, they've been made even simpler, and it has been shortened. So the time it takes for you to take an idea to all the way to the customer and validate it and see if they can actually pay for it and find value in it, is now shorter. And if we actually shorten it even further, especially in the last 5 to 6 years, the no-code aspect has done this, where you can actually convert something which is very raw idea into something very tangible, which the customers can actually interact with and read and understand, comprehend all of that. So if you make it even more shorter, this is where building without code comes in, where you're shorting that process. In other words, it's using the no-code tools. And by now, you know where Framer sits in. But essentially, why we are talking about building without code is because your barrier to launch is low, and you can be continuously working on the idea side of things rather than working in the nitty gritties of how exactly it is being executed and things like that. You can focus on the core value, and the risk is very low, the cost is low. Of course, the time to build is also low, and the essence of the solution can come out very well rather than building very robust, scaled infrastructures around it. And of course, you can learn the inner workings of it very quickly. You can iterate, the speed of iteration becomes very fast, and the cost of iteration is, of course, low. So, this is essentially why we are talking about building without code. And the world of no code has a lot of things. Again, depending on what category you're really looking at now, with AI coming in, this becomes even bigger. And in all this, what we are talking about is Framer, where it really snugly sits in terms of value communication aspect, where we are building websites for marketing. So that's where Framer comes in. And if we are talking about the customer side of things, how they experience, as long as the product is valuable, your customer does not care whether it is built with code or without code. And especially when there is an empowerment that is given to us, where we can really do rich, high fidelity, powerful, interactive websites, which also look good, which also perform very well, that too without writing code. When such an empowerment is given to us, it's best to take advantage of it as much as possible. So in that sense, if you really look at where Framer sits among the no-code other visual builders, you are seeing the builder tools sitting mostly on the left hand side. As you move from left to right, you have the writing code related aspects. So when you're building out your product, or when you're starting to market about your product, the clarity about that is usually very low. So when you're only having so much, it's best to use the tools that are very simple, that are very quick to help you get your word out there. So in that sense, if you put it Notion, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it. It's a tool which combines your instead of using Word and Excel and all of these things, you can use one tool which can do a lot of things. So it's a writing tool, but it's also a builder tool in other way. So you can start with Notion, which is simplest one to use, because as you write, you can take your page online as well. But of course, it doesn't give as much robust control in terms of customization and the layout and expression, interactions, and all. But then as you move forward, there is Softer, Squarespace, and Card, which are pretty much template builders. They are very visual builders, again, starting with, but they are extensively based on the templates. Card gives some flexibility in terms of customizing the layout exactly how you want it. That's where you can start with probably professional way of building with no code and visual builders. And then there is Wix sitting in, and then there is Framer and Webflow and Bubble and Xcode. And as you grow in terms of the complexity, how much complexity you want it to handle, how much control you want. On the bottom, I'm showing the time, cost, complexity, and learning curve. It increases from left to right, basically. So Framer sits pretty much in between, where the complexity is not too high. The time it takes is relatively lesser than compared to other tools like your Bubble, Webflow, and Xcode. And your complexity, it can handle quite a bit of complexity. Your learning curve is not so high. You just need to understand a few things that are very important when you're building, moving from a free way of putting things together using your free canvases and your whiteboarding tools to a very structured builder like Framer. So that's very different. And as you see, there is sophistication, customization, control, and skill that increases from the left to right. So Framer, Webflow, they are very sophisticated in the way they handle the web pages. Your customization can be very high, your control is very high, and the skill required is generally higher than somebody who can operate Notion. So that's how generally it is. And where and when should you pick Framer now? So if you are in a context where you want to create a custom design interactive website, you want that control over how your expression is coming through on the website and some sort of interactivity in terms of having lead magnets like forms to collect your emails from the customers, and you want some sort of a layout control allowing customers to switch between different types of data and see them, that kind of a thing. And if it's not anything that is very complex e-commerce, and if it saves the developer's time, you may have a developer who wants to develop it very quickly, but you can actually save their time by using um, no-code tools like this. And if you want to publish the pages and content super fast and have many people have access to modifying those pages and managing those website related things, not just dedicating it to only developer. So that kind of a control if you want, and if you can spend somewhere about $200, if you're really talking about a pro plan where you can build more than 10 pages, then it will not, even that will not cost you more than $200. So if this is the context, then you can go ahead and pick Framer for your use case. Especially most important part is how much you want to control on the website part, on the expression part, and how fast you want it to go. So these two are very important. Of course, Framer relatively costs much lesser than any other professional web builder that gives this much control. So yeah, with that, we can go ahead and understand some of the aspects of what's possible in Framer. A lot of people ask, Arjun, what are the things that I can build? Can I build my portfolio? Is it just a simple landing page builder and things like that? So for those things, I just wanted to clear out some of the doubts. So a lot of things can actually be built out of Framer. While it started just, Framer is very nascent. It's just 2 years, I think they've started very seriously. Earlier, they were pivoting between different offerings and different ways of positioning their product. But once it has become a very powerful no-code builder, a lot of things have been unlocked ever since. So today, as of today, you can definitely build a lot of websites, different types of websites, as you can see, from your brand intros to educational sites, corporate sites. It's not just landing pages. So your studio sites can be built, your portfolios. Very interestingly, typeface specimen sites where you can actually test out the new fonts. Those kind of things can also be built. I was very surprised to see that, quite honestly. And photo galleries and your event sites, all of these can be built today. That's a lot, if you ask me. And of course, membership sites. Right now, Framer does not actually support membership natively, but there are many integrations that are available already. People are fellow Framer builders and experts are already building products and tools on top of Framer, where you can take that integration and use their membership organization capabilities to build content repositories, newsletters, blogs, job boards, podcasts, and courses. All of these can be done. Again, everything is CMS driven. CMS comes natively in Framer. And with the third party integration on the membership part, you can do that. Likewise, with the commerce as well, you can use the third party integrations. There is even a Shopify integration that's possible where you can build physical products related commerce sites and digital product sites and your templates and marketplaces as well, where people can actually sell and buy together. To that extent, it's possible. We can build internal sites. We've done quite a few ourselves, where from the brand guidelines to the design systems to wikis, prototypes, and presentations, you can do all of these things in Framer. Especially on the prototyping part, there is still a lot of strengths in Framer in terms of how much you can do and how much you can actually showcase and communicate with your technology teams and stuff like that. So this is pretty much how much you can do with Framer, and some of the examples I'd like to share now. Okay. Just a second. Again, hope you're all able to see my screen. There are a lot of different sites that can be built out of Framer. This is our own site where we have, again, Framer Discovery Streams is part of Framer Discovery, which is a free resource and a structured guide to help you get started with Framer for free. And there's nothing that you have to pay for except just leave your email ID. But we are growing this particular stack of things where you can understand different aspects of Framer, different use cases, and start, building and learning Framer from here. So this site is again our own Xperian school site is built out of Framer. A lot of custom interactions and custom layouts like this, which we popularly call as a bento grid layout, can be done very much in Framer. And of course, this is responsive as well, highly responsive, and you can see how the responsiveness works. Especially on the bento layout, the responsiveness works differently, but still smooth enough. And we have sites like this, where of course we are talking about different aspects like content repositories like this. Framer Flex is our very own product where you can grab Framer components. Unlike the components that are out there, we are trying to build a more exhaustive set of components where if you, for example, pick a navigation bar, you have all the variants of navigation bar available. Instead of scouting for the right kind of a variant, again, from a different kind of a let us say a system, you can, within this own system, there is a starter building block component that you can further customize and see which variant you want and build from there. Likewise, there is our own Nocoloco, which is our wing for no-code product development and product, especially building websites. So agency websites like this can also be done in Framer. And we have, for example, Dive. Dive website has been done in Framer. This is another example from Red. We have, very quickly, I'm just shifting through some of the different kind of sites. We've done this Framer India, especially Framer Bengaluru page. We have done the first chapter. Again, when you want to organize for an event and bring all of the information together, collate it all, and all the things that are related to the session, what's being showcased in the session, and what are the learning resources and all the snapshots. Again, simple lightbox kind of a way with a custom grid. We call this masonry grid, which is kind of an uneven way of laying out your pictures. Sites like this can be done very easily. Very animated sites like this can be done. Basis is one of our the projects that we have done for Basis, designing their landing page. There we go. All these custom interactions and scroll-based animations can be done very easily in Figma. So these are just some examples. And I'm just quickly skipping through things. Bank payments. This is basically a fintech-based website, which we worked on as well. Again, if you want to drive a lot of things based on CMS, you can do that. So this is heavily CMS-driven website, especially if you want a lot of data coming in from a CMS point of view. You can build websites like this. And we also have highly interactive sites, my own site, which I've been developing for quite some time, but with, again, custom interactions like this, loading animations, custom components, adding GIFs. A lot of interesting things can be done. In Figma like this, we have, for example, this page where it loads differently, horizontal scroll, detailed project descriptions and things like that. And some of the common examples and very known examples I'd like to give. Dribble's own Dribble for designers. This entire site is being built on Framer. Again, very popular one. Integrating the videos, all of this becomes very easy. And what else? The type specimen thing that I wanted to show you. Again, this website is also built on Framer. Typographic. This is the site, and you can also go ahead and type anything. Again, I'm not sure exactly how many integrations they've done to make this happen. This is not 100% native, but they are leveraging the Framer platform to actually build out their entire site, which is commendable enough. And we have design system sites like this, design systems. All of these links will be shared to all of you, those who want to refer them at your own time. And custom components can be built like this. And this is a site that showcases one of the custom buttons that you can build for Figma. Wonderful toggle buttons based on diagrams, principles, and things like that. And yeah, a couple more on the branding side. We have the DocuSign. Very recently, they built out this entire site on Figma. A lot of beautiful typography and scroll-based animations. So a lot of storytelling is possible very easily in Figma. These kind of things can be done. And we also have
Arjun, you
the,
should show the Jack one as well. Yeah.
oh yeah, or did I miss that? One of the things that we worked on, again, this is something that we've talked about in a previous live stream as well, where Jack is coming in as another agency, which is heavy on the inciting and the business design side of things and the prototyping aspects. So we've built a custom branded site for them where there are animations like this, which is something like a leading line or a following line that will guide you through all of these sections. Again, a lot of interactive experiences are there in the site. The bottom menu is there. You can switch between different aspects. If you go into the offering section, you can move. Not sure. They are tweaking it. Yeah, a lot of things can be done like this. All of these are custom components that are built with custom interactions. There's no code used for any of these things, including the line animation. And we also have these interactive footer animations that are done, which kind of give you a peek, very playful, as they wanted it. So yeah, that's a very quick overview of what's done for Jack. And we also have some of the portfolios, other people's portfolios that are built. This is one of the popular one, which I think has also won a famous site of the month or site of the day award. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of interesting stuff can be done with Framework. So I hope that gives you enough understanding of what is really possible with Framer. Quite a few things than what is popularly known as just a landing page builder. So that's something that I wanted to do a myth busting kind of a thing there. And yeah, let's move on to understanding the real deal of how Framer works. And I just want to touch upon simple things on how you can build a simple landing page of sorts. Let's see that. Okay. Okay. All right. Just switch to the Framer. So one of the things you will notice once you pick up Framer is it has a very familiar interface. Those who are designers joining in, the good news is that it builds on the modern interfaces that are really powerful as well as easy at the same time. So the modern interfaces that pick up from your Sketch to Figma and Framer and even other things like your Webflow to your spline. All of these are tools that leverage on top of the modern interface design, which is very, very simple to use, but also very flexible and powerful at the same time. So Framer takes leverages on top of that. So once you land on your Framer page, you will be basically landing on your dashboard. And from here, if you go ahead and create a new project, here's how you will be greeted with. Basically, you will be started with the insert panel, where the best part of Framer is where you are going ahead and building with simple building blocks. Apart from the template kind of a builders, the building blocks give you high level of customization and just to get started with. So you have a lot of building blocks to start with from your pages, sections, navigation, menus, and a lot of interactive elements as well, from your media to your forms, integrating audio, video, YouTube videos, including your icon systems, and you have sliders as well. You have your tickers and sliders, and some of the utility related things, like you can add in some sticky notes, logos from different companies, all of those things that are available to start with. So a lot of things are there for you to get started in a very quick manner. Let's say we just want to go ahead and build something as a very, very simple landing page. I just wanted to showcase this quickly. By default, when you add any of these building blocks, right now I've chosen a page as a building blocks. And as I zoom out, you will see that all the base resolutions have been added to me. And this is something that I can start customizing. And I can customize it to, if you are very clear about what kind of information you want to put out on the page, the customization becomes very, very easy. And all you have to do is just start writing the content. Right now, just let me pick the content from different places. Okay, this is a very sample website that I'm trying to build. On the left-hand side panel, you will see all the things that have been added as layers. You can switch between your pages, your layers, and any reusable assets that you're trying to create, and all the stylings and the custom code that you add. All of these can be part of the assets. So it's a very quick, simple way of navigating. Right now, I'm just clicking and looking at all the ways to add the content and customize them. I'm not touching the property side of things, where you can manipulate things like your position and the properties of this text, what is the size of it, and all the important typographic aspects. Likewise, when you select image, contextually, all the image related properties will be shown. Commonly, you can also add a lot of effects to your framer. It's very simple to add effects as well. We'll just delve into that probably in the next few live streams more specifically. Right now, I just wanted to quickly put up the content and see how we can customize this very simply. So first thing first, I'm just going to select all of these things. So just going to the content. I'll just probably, I'm just picking some simple typefaces that will work for this context. Trying to build out, let us say, a landing page for one of the digital product that hypothetically we can launch. Probably, let us say, a Notion template of sorts. We can launch, so that's something that we can do. And I'm just going ahead and customizing the font that's being used for long form content, and anything that is smaller. Select all of this text and change at the same time. Come here on the right hand side, go to the font picker. Your font picker usually gives you all the fonts installed on your computer. It shows up, and if you have any custom fonts, you can upload them to this thing. And you can by default see all the free fonts that are there from your Google Fonts as well as Indian Type Foundry. All of those fonts are available for you to use. Right now, we'll just select something very simple that goes very well with the font that I've chosen here for the titles. So PT serif and DM serif. Yeah, that's what it is. So already it starts looking a bit better, more customized for the context. Probably because this is the intro section, I'm just going to highlight this, especially because we have an image here. Just to elevate the image off the ground, I'm just going to choose black color. So you can write simple color names in the color picker panel like this. You open up the color picker from the right hand side, where all the styles are present for you to customize, and you can type in black. And you can also use color picker to pick the color from your canvas or wherever you want. So just a little bit of a customization there. We don't need this particular, let us say, logo section. And probably I'll just start bringing some of the content here. Something around the productivity I wanted to bring in, and let's add while bringing in some images from my computer. When you open up the image panel, you will see that image is nothing but a fill property. So you can switch between a simple solid color fill and a gradient fill and a lot of, as well as image. So image becomes one of the properties that you can add to an existing thing. So this is for starters, this is a very simple way of building out from scratch using building blocks. So you can go ahead and select an image that I have from here and add it right there. Probably I'll just remove the corner radius from here. I'll just customize the size of it a little bit, something of 480, so it doesn't cut off the top edge. And we have it already looking very good. And I'm just going to bring out, if you want to drop in some of the SVG logos out there, you can drop in. We have an SVG logo here, just announcing the product name, and just bring in the content of what this product is. And customizing is as simple as going ahead and specifying how much width you want it to use, just so that the paragraph looks better and more readable. And if you want to customize in terms of the buttons, let us say right now I don't want to have this group, so I just remove the stack and add the stack for this, and basically just to fit content, change the orientation of this stack. Basically, this is just a different way of grouping. Most important aspect of Framer, where once you're moving from a free floating canvas to a canvas where you build out web pages in a very structured way, the one important aspect that gives you an ability to structure it very logically, one after the other, how the content should flow, which direction it should flow, all of this, we call it stacks in Framer. And we have an ability to use a simple two-dimensional stack or one-dimensional stack to a two-dimensional stack. We call it as a grid in other ways. So we have an ability to do that as well. So right now I'll just go ahead and see the features, and I can probably customize even the color of this. Go to the color picker, pick something that's very vibrant. Okay, I'm going to use the color picker shortcut to pick the color in the background for the text. And this looks already a lot more customized just by adding a little bit of a content. And I'll bring in a bit more of the content for the other sections. In real website building process, you will have to do this pretty much ahead of time, so that you have all of this content handy with you when you're building out. One of the most important key steps of this process. Okay, I'm just basically explaining all the important features of this product, which is a productivity system of sorts, which I've kind of built it out probably years ago when Notion has come in. Now Notion has been growing more advanced. So let me just quickly put up the pictures here associated with this. We have some of the pictures here. And I have another picture here. One of the interesting things is you can also use pictures from Unsplash. So Framer has a native integration of bringing in pictures from Unsplash. All you have to do is, once you are in the image picker panel, on the bottom side you have an Unsplash button. You click on that, you will be able to search Unsplash images right from here. Some quick imagery, for example, you can, let us say, cartoon, you can bring in images like that, just for example. So it becomes very fast to have these integrations and get your concept imagery or imagery that you have elsewhere to bring in. Right now, we'll just customize this thing a bit more. You can leave it at this, where it kind of shows the screenshots. You can also have a specific area of focus, let us say the top part of it, or you want the central area to be focused and things like that. You can do all of these, or you can show the whole picture of the mobile screenshot that I have here by going into the properties of whether you want to fill this image or fit the image within the dimensions of this image container that you have here. So to that level, you can customize. Right now, I'm just going to leave it here, and I don't really need these things. Probably I can have a read more kind of thing. So you can do bulk actions like this, where you can delete the grouping and make this black. I'm also going to choose something like a bold, read more. Let me just give a little bit more cues that this is more like a hyperlink, and you can customize it even further if you want custom sections, like something you want to explain more of these features and not yet in the page. You can go into the insert panel again and go for sections, specific sections, and let us say you want to explain some of the features, any of these things. Probably a bento grid like this work, and you can customize this even further. And if you don't want imagery, you just want to stick to the simple things, you can delete these. You can simplify this one. You just remove the additional groupings that are there. It becomes easier. And you can customize in a bulk way. You can set the amount of spacing you want from your layout properties that are there. You can set the orientation of the stack, exactly how aligned these are. You want them to be aligned to the right side, center. You can set all of these things. Right now, we just want to make this section in such a way that each of this explains about a particular feature. And you can add some inside spacing to these containers that are there. Very simply, let's say, okay, right now you don't see what's happening. It's just adding an extra spacing inside this container. Let me add a little bit of a fill. I'll just take the color from here, and there we go. So probably again, we'll just customize this with the font that we have. Display, something like that. We can also set these. All right, there we go. Let's make this a bit more presentable, neater, more approachable. Just add a bit more radius to this, and there we go. And I can start bringing in some of the content to just make this more relevant. So this, I'm talking about one of the important features of inbox in the Notion system, and we have a feature where we are automatically syncing the calendar events to your Notion system. And we also have, let us say, some routine tasks. So you can actually build, have a lot of templates and choose from those templates for your routine tasks. So, and finally, we have something called collections. And we are almost there in terms of finishing some of the things. Probably this. Okay, you can, let's say, copy style. This time you can paste style. Such kind of features are also there, which makes styling very easy in Framer. And you can reduce the gap that is there between all of them. Already starts looking better. And you can also add more of like a title for this, saying this is more features. So you can actually build out of something as simple as this as a component, drag it onto the top, and let's say this is just more features, and you can customize this, right? Um, let's say we're just dropping it to 12. You can type in the color name again, and you can say this is center aligned and automatic width. There I'm setting up a lot of things here very quickly, but again, it's just a simple way of acquainting yourself with how you can control these properties. Again, if you're coming from the world of using visual builders, again, like Figma, this becomes a lot more easy for you to pick up. And I can, let's say, add another title. If I want to add spacing between all of these things, I can use the on canvas controls like this to add a bit more spacing. And I can set this to be auto width, and I can also set this to be center. Control, sorry, okay, let's copy the styling as well. Basically, you can set the same size that you have for this. And I'm just bringing another paragraph here. So if I go ahead and hold option to duplicate, bring it here. There you go, centered. And I can actually group all of these things into one, so and adjust the spacing accordingly. And I'd say it can occupy the full width and set the height to in such a way that it kind of hugs the content, doesn't leave any more extra room or space. And I can actually set the, let us say, maximum width of, let us say, 60% of the screen width, something like that. Already looks better. And if I want to, let's say, just one more section, if you can add to complete this page. No page is complete like this, especially a landing page without some testimonials coming in. So we have some testimonial blocks here, sections to start with. Again, these are very simple building blocks that you can work with, structures that you don't have to really manually build by yourself. Right now, we don't have so many pictures of people coming in from here, so let me just go ahead and delete these pictures. And I can actually customize all of these things. One of the interesting things that you can do is go into select the siblings, probably. Okay, here we go. Text layers with the same style. And if you just go ahead and select, it will select all the text layers with the same styling that is being applied. So these are some of the interesting things that Framer can do to make your work very easy. And I'll just set it as DN display. And here as well, I'll just go ahead and say text layers with the same style. Just set it to PT. There we go. And probably we can do this as well. Become so easy. There we go. Already starts looking way better. And probably I want to highlight this section as well, so I'll just drop it as a black as well. So there you go. A custom thing. You can actually go ahead and hit publish. And what Framer does is it takes care of all the code that is written behind and publishes it to a temporary URL that you can test it out on. And this is something that you can right away check it probably. Let me just showcase to you. Again, responsively, the whole page kind of adjusts itself responsively very well. Fairly decent. There we go. Probably this is something that we can set for mobile, where I can set it to occupy here, this. And you can make all of these updates just in an instant. Let me showcase how the site works. Okay. All right. Web page. There we go. Our very own web page. Let me load it from scratch. And when you build it with building blocks, you have some of these simple effects coming in as well that have been added to these things. And as you scroll down, there are scroll based effects as well on this thing.
You can share this open link with us. I want to everybody to test
Oh,
it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, put it on the chat so everybody can see.
Um,
Or just share it with me. I'll put it for everyone.
yeah, just share it with you. Probably you can put it up there. Okay, here we go, folks. A custom design website, not a template based one per se, although we are following some standard layouts. There is a lot of, if you are kind of customizing an existing templates, there's a lot more work that goes on rather than building with building blocks generally. So we have this to be completely responsive as well. And if you have the access to the URL, you can check it out on your own phone as well. There you go. I hope that helped you understand how quickly you can build out the site in Framer. A lot of use cases there. A lot of, if you want additional functionality like CMS and things like that, you can bring that in as well. And let's take a look at some of the questions if people have. Malki, do you have anything?
So some people want to know if you can build event-based websites, something like people coming and checking on the event, kind of like ours, like the live stream. But I want to tell them that it's kind of hard to do it natively in Framer. You can make the landing page of the event, and then you can embed, let's say, a YouTube or a third-party one like a Razorpay or any other event thing like Eventbrite or Luma. You cannot do it natively in Framer. Yeah.
I do pick up some of the questions. What is the best site you have built? I think that's Anirudh who has asked. Um, I'm not sure if we have built any best site out there, but we have given some of the things that we thought were challenging, definitely, but came out very, very well. Surprised us that we could actually build it in Framework. Jack Strategies website is one of the things that we have shown earlier. That is something that's there, and we have some of the CMS based sites extensively on the CMS rather than the Jack strategy, which is heavily on branding and custom interactions and animations and scroll based effects, things like that. Whereas scaling up on the CMS side, we have Finverse, which has about probably 100 odd pages, and probably we have done even more than 100, probably for
I think 100
pages.
odd pages is not good. It's more about having the SEO strategy in place, which scale
Yes.
up to 100 pages with a simple strategy. So there are more examples. We had helped a client move 600 blogs into Framer, and that's possible to do that. It's simple because you have 10,000 CMS items and you can scale with that. Yeah.
All right. I hope that has given you a good peek into the potential of Framer and how you can pick it up. We are thinking of covering a lot more over the coming few days, more specifically on what type of custom interactions you can add and how we can, what are the limitations of Framer to some of our own people who have picked up Framer. Probably they can come and speak to you about their experiences. So, yeah,
Yeah. Um,
the
yeah.
agenda for the 7 day streams, probably we'll publish it, Adrit?
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
You'll be notified on, we'll be posting it publicly on Twitter and LinkedIn on the
yeah.
agenda for, yeah.
So somebody's asking if you can embed an Insta feed. You can use third-party embedders to, embed an Insta feed, and we typically cover those advanced things in our workshop because that requires a bit of understanding of how to put third-party aspects, how consider good ones, bad ones, ugly ones. You have to think of all of that, but you can do that definitely. You can just embed it and it should work. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you so much
Uh,
for joining in. folks.
Yes.
Anything else, Madhuri, to have
No,
wrap up?
I didn't get any other questions, but if you all have any other questions, we will stick around for a few more seconds. Arjun, why don't you show like one of the you know uh, work that we did on the animation transition thing, especially Jack, because a lot of people had asked for it initially.
Okay, one of the more popular things that we have done. Let me showcase that again. All right. There's a live stream where I think this is Framer's official live stream where I've kind of outlined on the strategy that we've taken for the site, like Jack strategy, and what all went into planning for that, building the components, custom components, kind of detailed out there.
You can
But
see
let me,
thunderstorm right now. Yeah.
yes, yes, one second. Just switch. Okay,
So I want to actually explain some cute things as about this. The one, this is a brand heavy project, so it was the design first compared to the not just the execution part. The logo had this line extending, and hence we wanted that to extend throughout the whole this thing. So what happens once you scroll is that slowly, if you go down, it will form that line to guide the user throughout the whole thing. And as you go down further, it will go throughout the whole other sections. So if your screen is big, we have adjusted the animation to sit at the center. The screen is small, we have adjusted animation according to it, and it scrolls along with your mouse. It's a very lot of trickery we used in the background to make this work. Another cute interaction we had is this testimonial style interaction. This level of interactions can be done very quickly because it's like a design level thing, right? Additionally, as you go down, you'll also be able to see the slight movement of that board. And as you go down, you'll also see very a simple, CRPOV. It kind of like drags your attention, but the idea is to kind of keep it like wonky a bit, kind of turn it a bit. And you can use the simple rotate tools and all of that to make that kind of like how you would do in Figma. And you go down further, the footer was very interesting as well. So go way down. Yeah, you can see this footer was made using hover states. I think Arjun will cover partially the hover states as well, so you can go through how these kind of hover states can be done. Again, it's design first, and then how do you implement it, and it's your creativity on top of it. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed speaking to this website. It was a lot of fun for us to do, and you can also see it's like phenomenally responsive. I think you need to load it again, Arjun. Yeah.
probably.
It's too less.
Yeah.
Yeah. ठीक है. Yeah.
Optimized for mobile as well. The orientation has been changed for the
Yeah.
navigation.
Change the design depending on the resolution. Yeah.
All these are custom interactions. Again, there's a lot of focus by dulling down the background. We are bringing a lot of focus onto the navigation aspects. So all of these is fairly easy to build. The most challenging part is not the effects, um, as most people would assume. The challenging part is the line that follows through, and the line is also responsive, no matter what screen you are looking at it on. It kind of sits at the right place and triggers at the right moment and covers just as much distance. So that's something that was a little tricky to build but still, it's very much possible with Framework. So yeah, I hope this gives you an understanding of how much you can stretch Framer.
All right. Thanks, Arjun. I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, people, and spending your valuable time. I hope the next few live streams will give you a bit more information. Um, one of the people have asked, Stephen, do you use a lot of custom code blocks in Framer in your work? And if so, what would be an example you need custom code for? Actually, we don't recommend a lot of custom code in any of the projects that we build for a simple reason. Kind of negates the purpose of the whole purpose of using visual builders and no code way of approach. So the code is being written in the background anyway, but for some of the functionalities that you want to have additional functionalities, there are a lot of code components that are available for Framer, built by fellow Framer builders and experts. So those are the things we very selectively pick and choose if we really want to extend the functionality, but we don't have the functionality natively built in Framer. Then we do use some code components, not much. Again, the more code components we use, a lot of dependency in terms of how much control you have on your website, and also a lot of maintenance effort as well. So we try to
I can
avoid it as much
show
as
an
possible.
example of a custom code component we have made and we have used. So this is our website for the Framer workshop. As you click on enroll now, so you can see this line that's kind of like floating around this thing. Box is essentially a custom code component that we have gotten through other online builders and creators like Superior's panel or resources. You can look at it. The other than that we also did is this enroll now button. Our friend Arvind who worked with this created a wrapper for this kind of button. When you click on this, gives the same functionality for the payment button. Right? So this is highly customizable, blends in with the design, whereas this doesn't blend in. If you notice, gives the same functionality, right? So this is a very fun way to use custom components and should allow for more creativity in all of these. Yeah.
Another question from Prabal: can you embed iframes which have games built on Unity embedded inside them? I'm thinking you can, because a lot of games that you build, not just in Unity, probably even in tools like your Spline, which is 3D design software, just like Framer and Figma. It's as simple to learn and equally powerful and flexible. You can actually embed all of these games that you build out of things using. There is a HTML embed component. You have seen in the very initial um, phase of this live stream where I've opened up the framework canvas and I'm greeted with an insert panel with all the building blocks. Basically, in one of the components in the building blocks is a custom embed component where you can embed custom code. Sorry, your iframe based embeds. Yeah, hope
Awesome.
that
Yeah.
answers you, Prabal.
Yeah. Awesome. All good. We are almost reaching 1 hour mark. But thank you so much for making the time for the first ever live stream. We have 6 more consecutive days to go. Actually, our plan is to do every alternate day. We want to give a breather between each, you know, streaming day. So we'll see you day after for the day two of more basics. Build things like headers, footers, make them as competence. So we're going to reach out to you on day two, and I'll see you then. Oh yeah, we have one more question. What's your process
Yeah,
like? Do you
we
start
can
with
take that.
Figma, and for Jack, and then Hubble? You all, yeah. So you can start this,
Yeah.
Arjun.
Yeah, definitely. What's the process like? Generally, if you are building anything that has heavy custom design kind of thing coming in, you usually start your process in a much more flexible tool like Figma, because it gives you a lot more power to quickly iterate things and build on stuff. Especially with Figma combined with plugins, the speed and the quality with which you can get all of the high fidelity visual assets and all of that is very high. You can do that in Framer as well. If you are only choosing one tool, then you can go ahead and choose Framer. You have, like web pages, you have canvas pages in Framer. Probably I can cover that in upcoming live stream, where you can build out your pages in a much more free flowing, infinite canvas of stuff, just like Figma. But again, the amount of robustness that you have in Framer is not as much as Figma. So the right tool for the right job, if that's your philosophy, then go for Figma and then Framer as a combination. But if you want to just stick to one tool, you can start with Framer itself. While it will not give you as much speed, you can still do that. So that's usually how the process is. And yeah, from there we build it out on Framer by copying the assets and taking it over to. There's a little bit of a process there as well. A lot of things you can do in terms of setting the same structure, copying and pasting from Figma to Framer. So that's what it is. And Jatin, can you tell the structure of what all will be taught? We'll be soon launching, public. quickly putting out the agenda
So I
for
can
the
show a
next few
rough
live
one.
streams.
We can show a rough one. What we wrote in our notes. If you're okay with just
I
sharing that.
have it here on my notes
Yeah,
if you want.
I can share it. Just give me a second.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So I'm going to just share the screen for the workshop. Here's our plan, and today we have covered all the basics, building an intersection, and all of that using base components of Framer. On 21st of May, we are going to cover using a component library, understanding components and different other aspects like creating header, footer, and that's where Framer Flex, our own component library, comes in. And we'll show some examples and how do you customize and go beyond templates. Part of today was also going beyond templates. On 23rd, you learn effects, custom interactions, and a multitude of examples that are out there for custom interactions are also covered. On 25th, we're going to cover blogs and CMS or anything that has to do with content management system. This will allow you to launch your own portfolio, case study formats and templates, or if you want to scale your content using Framer, you can use that. We're just going to cover it, not in depth, but it'll give you a good intro to get started. And then 28, you'll understand how to optimize all those designs for mobile. That is what we call as responsiveness technically. And there are some great examples of how do you optimize for that. And then on 30th, how do you move your design and why should you use Figma to frame a plugin and how should you not use it? And how do you use it for site maintenance, which is like kind of, let's say, you have to set up the SEO or you hit publish using the free domain or a paid domain, any of that. And on first, any learning roadblocks you have or any other questions you might have about learning Framer and Framer Discovery, our own free library for learning Framer, and anything else that you might have as questions in between. Yeah. So this is like the rough format. That's how you see it in like ambiguous language, but we'll actually put out a proper post on the Framer live streams, and that should cover a crash course of the same.
Thank
I
you so
hope this
much, Madhu.
helps. Yeah.
Thank you, folks, for joining in. We'll probably catch you again in the next
Yeah.
live stream.
Yes. See you all, everyone.